Alrighty everyone, my name is Bacon, and today we're going to be taking a look at quite a few new additions that have been revealed for update 1.89, both from a few devblogs and also from a test server livestream done today by Gaijin to show us a bunch of new stuff that we had not yet seen via the devblogs. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is not going into a massive amount of detail, but more or less just looking at each of the vehicles very quickly and just covering it as quickly as possible, just to give really a short summary of what we have been shown today, and some of the vehicles you may not have known will be coming in this update. So to start off the devblogs, what did we get? Initially, AMX 30, more specifically the Super AMX 30. This is a version of the AMX 30B that was upgraded in the in the sort of later part of the 1980s by a group of companies from West Germany. So not actually a French model of the AMX 30, but a West German modification that was developed, tested, had field trials in Saudi Arabia, and unfortunately no buyers were found for this development, and eventually only one was ever built and the project was cancelled. So this is going to be a new tier 6 premium for the French Ground Forces tree. Pros and cons on the devblog: it has a stabilizer, unlike most variants of the AMX 30, premium bonuses, and a more powerful engine. The engine has been upped to an 850 horsepower diesel engine, which does give the vehicle a bit more mobility. Cons: poor armor, no 20mm. The 20mm, which is usually mounted coaxially, has been swapped out with a 50 cal. So there's some things you need to know. How can you get this vehicle? You can pre-order it on the Gaijin store at the moment. Either you can get it by itself in just the Super AMX 30 pack, where you get the vehicle itself, 2,000 golden eagles, 15 days premium, the Bedouin decal and the Bedouin title as pre-order bonuses. This will cost you €59.99, or you can get all of that stuff with the Valtor 2A pack, the Israeli Air Force Valtor 2A, for €76.99. So that is how you can get this vehicle. I will of course be covering this in much more depth on the dev server, but effectively it is just a stabilized gun and a more powerful engine in a standard AMX 30B. So the second devblog we got, the Furutaka. This is the first heavy cruiser that has been shown. It has got 6 203mm guns mounted in 3 individual turrets, 2 guns per turret. You also have a bunch of secondary 120mm cannons and a bunch of torpedoes. And very interestingly, the torpedoes on this vehicle can be reloaded while sailing around, so no need to go find a cap point and reload there. You can just go along and reload on the move, which is a big positive. As pros and cons go, you have 6 powerful 8-inch cannons, good protection, excellent torpedoes. Then for cons, large silhouette. It is a big vessel, so being spotted at fairly long distances and likely being hit from long distances is a fairly high chance when using this vessel. Of course, again, I will likely be taking a much more in-depth look at this vehicle once it is available on the dev server, but this will be the first heavy cruiser in the game, and at least is definitely the first one on the Japanese Navy. So moving on now to the live stream. What did we see? Well, saw some interesting stuff, has to be said. First off, we got a more in-depth look at the Messerschmitt 264, so let's go take a look at that. Okay, Messerschmitt 264, let's take a look. Well, obviously it's got the 2 20mm cannons in the turrets on top of the fuselage, 4 13mm MG131 machine guns as well. What rating did we expect? Well, I was personally expecting around 6.0. Well, 4.7 BR. Good stuff. Now, the rate of climb, what I did find when researching the airplane, 2 meters per second rate of climb. Oof. Although, 3.5 meters per second. One issue though, when you take out the top payload of 4 1,000 kilogram bombs, that decreases by 2.2 meters per second. So when you have your full payload, your climb rate is going to be 1.3 meters per second. Yeah, that's not good. Couple that with the 61,000 Silver Lion repair cost, and yeah, Germany players, I think it's time you start whining again. Although all jokes aside, this is only the test server, so it is highly likely that stats and prices may change before the dev server, and definitely before the main update. I highly doubt it will stay as a 61,000 Silver Lion repair cost. If it does, then that's a bit stupid. If it's at 4.7, just increase the BR a bit. Don't give it an absolutely insane repair cost. So next up, we got a bunch of stuff for the British. First off, the Hawker Hunter F.6. This is going to be a tier 6 jet fighter on the British tech tree after the Hawker Hunter F1. Now, this vehicle, much more powerful engine for one thing when compared to the Hunter Mark 1, and also the addition of being able to use air-to-air missiles, SRAM air-to-air missiles, I believe, SR AAMs, 4 of them mounted under the wings. You can see them in the background footage being shot at a MiG-15 by the looks of it, and yeah, pretty damn good. Effectively just a more powerful engine, improved wing design. You can see it's got the sort of sawtooth design on the leading edge, which provides better sort of airflow, better lift characteristics at lower speeds. So generally it will perform much better, probably be a bit more maneuverable as well as having these payloads. I'm not sure about other payloads. I would hope this would also have access to some kind of ground pounding capability, considering that the current sort of best ground pounder for the British tech tree, other than the Reaper Meteor, is either the standard Meteor Mark 8, the Venom, something like that. Having a higher jet would definitely be nicer. Current BR of 9.7, I would hope, considering it's subsonic, that would go down. Current top speed of 1,159 kilometers per hour at sea level, and a climb rate of 86 meters per second. Next up, we have the Stormer HVM, a tier 7 ground vehicle for the British, currently at a BR of 10.0, which I'm presuming it will stay after this, considering there is a top tier anti-aircraft vehicle. So this has 8 130mm Starstreak missiles, standard anti-aircraft surface-to-air missiles. Looking at what happened on the live stream, I am presuming at this point these are not designed to be used against ground vehicles. Of course, if you fire one at an incredibly lightly armoured anti-aircraft vehicle or an infantry fighting vehicle, it will probably do some damage. But against MBTs, probably won't do all that much. This thing only weighs 13 tons, more or less no armor, and a top speed of 87 kilometers per hour. Not too bad. The chassis, I believe, is actually based on the same chassis as the Striker ATGM carrier, so it is something we've seen a lot. No guns on this, only the Starstreak missiles and 8 66mm smoke grenade launchers. So with that said, let's move on to the last British vehicle that was shown on this test server, the HMS Southampton. This is going to be a light cruiser at 5.3 tier 4. The main guns, you have got 4 turrets, each with 3 6-inch cannons. Decent amount of stuff there. You also have access to a whole plethora of secondary guns, be that smaller anti-ship guns or smaller anti-aircraft guns, and then also 6 torpedoes, 533mm torpedoes to be more specific there. Top speed of 69 kilometers per hour, crew of 665 people. Pretty decent there. Nice little light cruiser. Definitely something I might consider grinding towards if I ever decide to actually continue with grinding out the British naval line. So next up, a vessel that I have been rather interested to get a look at, the PG-02 Little Hydrofoil Premium. This is one of the pre-order packs for the Japanese naval tree. Currently at a 3.3 BR, only one weapon, this being a Vulcan cannon. This is the JM61 Vulcan cannon. I believe it's a derivative of the same gun on the T2 jet fighter. And then you also have 12 smoke grenade launchers mounted just in front of the bridge. So interesting stuff there. Nice little boat, 3.3 BR. It's probably going to wreak some pretty fun havoc at those lower BRs. Might be pretty interesting to test out, so I would definitely be considering getting this myself. Probably won't, but I will at least give it a look, at least give it some consideration on the dev server first, especially considering its top speed of 129 kilometers per hour at a BR of 3.3 with a minigun. I'm pretty interested to look at this. 20mm rotary cannon, count me in. So next up, we have a bunch of Japanese ships. First off, a light cruiser, the IGN Agano. Main guns on this, you have 3 turrets, each with 2 15cm guns, 5.3 BR, top speed of 56 kilometers per hour, and a crew of 700. That is the first Japanese boat, bigger boat that is, that we're seeing here, and it is, of course, a tier 4, meaning light cruiser. Next up, we have a tier 3. This is the IGN Akizuki, I believe it's pronounced. A lot of these names are iffy for me, but I'm going to say it's the Akizuki. Destroyer at tier 3, 4.3 BR. Main guns, you've got 4 turrets, each with 2 100mm guns. Top speed of 75 kilometers per hour, and an absolute ton of anti-aircraft cannons, mostly made up of 25mm Type 96 cannons, with a whole bunch of ammunition and also some torpedo launchers. So I think this is a vehicle that aircraft are going to learn to fear. Now, we talked about this one a few minutes ago, the IGN Furutaka. This had the devblog today and is the first heavy cruiser, at least the first one that we know of, to be in the game. So the currently at tier 4. I was thinking that heavy cruisers might be at tier 5, as the tiers are now in Naval done by the class of the vessel, so this might be moved to tier 5 before the dev server or before the live update, we will see. Currently are 5.7. The main guns, 3 turrets, each with 2 20cm guns, more specifically 203mm caliber guns. Pretty damn powerful stuff there, and a top speed of 71 kilometers per hour. Less crew members than the light cruiser we looked at a few minutes ago, which is rather interesting there. Only 680 crew members for this heavy cruiser. So rather interesting stuff there, but there we go. There is this boat. You'll have some, obviously for all of these you've had the stream footage in the background showing roughly the performance, although not an in-depth view, so I will be taking a closer look at these once the dev server goes up. So next up we have a bit of a closer look at the Leclerc. This is of course the brand new French top tier MBT. The Leclerc is at tier 7, current BR of 10.0. The gun is a 120mm cannon, although it's not an L44, it is in fact a GAT CN120 26 F1 cannon. You then have a single machine gun, a 50 cal, which is mounted coaxially next to the gun, and then also 14 smoke grenade launchers, which actually give you 360-degree coverage, which is very useful. Now, the tank has a top speed of 71 kilometers per hour, 3-man crew, weight of 53.7 tons, turret rotation of 21 degrees per second, which is actually the same as the Super AMX 30, and a reload rate of 5 seconds. So very interesting stuff there. Certainly a vehicle I am definitely excited to look at on the dev server. So now moving on to the AMX 30 Super, tier 6 of course, it is a tier 6 premium, 8.7 BR, the gun is a 105mm CN105 F1 cannon. You then have a 50 cal mounted coaxially, replacing the standard AMX 30 20mm cannon that is usually mounted coaxially. You then also have a German, I believe, 30 cal on top of the commander's cupola, and a 7.62mm MG3A1. And then you also have 16 smoke grenade launchers, 76mm smoke grenade launchers, 4 either side of the turret near the front, and 4 either side of the turret near the back. So a decent amount there. Turret rotation 21 degrees per second, same as the Leclerc, so pretty damn decent there. You then also have -8 and +20 degrees of vertical guidance on the gun. 8.7 second reload, bit longer than the Leclerc there, although it is still a decent reload. Crew of 4, 36.5 ton weight, and 65 km per hour top speed. Not too bad there, not too bad at all. Definitely a tank I'm interested in getting, although probably not something I will consider buying myself. And finally, to finish up, we have a look at the F.6K, tier 6, 9.0 BR. You of course have those 4 20mm M24A1 cannons and 2 AIM-9B sidewinders. Of course, the AIM-9B is a much earlier version of the sidewinder compared to what we mostly have in game now in the form of the AIM-9E, and I believe the AIM-9L on the AH-1Z. But, you know, it's still effective at shooting down most things. Of course, they are fairly easy to dodge though, so the effectiveness of this missile on this aircraft specifically, we'll just have to wait and see how well it does. Top speed of 1,111 kilometers per hour at sea level, turn time of 27 seconds, a rate of climb of 56 meters per second. Pretty damn decent overall, I would say. And in the stream, they did mention that at least BVVD, the developer who is with Sean on this stream, did say that nations will be getting this vehicle simultaneously. So I was wondering, does that mean that, for example, Italy and Germany will also be getting the F-86K this update, and then America will be getting the F-86D? What is going on with that, or will it just be France this update? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. A few other things to note: it was mentioned now that torpedoes and ATGMs can be destroyed by machine gun fire, main cannon fire, so it is likely now that you can take them out while they're on the way to hit you, which most of the time, looking at sort of when you're sitting there and you're being shot at by an ATGM, you would have time to shoot a machine gun at it most of the time, so that is definitely a good possibility, and the same can be said for torpedoes. So some nice little things there. Generally, I think it's a good thing. They have hyped up some nice stuff. Maybe we'll get a dev server soon, we will have to wait and see, but certainly I am fairly hyped for some things in this update, especially the newly unveiled British vehicles. Anyway though, thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreons, you guys really do help with keeping the motivation on for getting these videos done. If you enjoyed the video, please consider smashing the like button, maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. As always, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.